Okay, so we have started with the input output instruction, and after that we have seen how we are going to identify the interrupts and exceptions. Generally, it will be identified with the help of our interrupts, where we'll be having with the identified with the help of some vectors, or it will be having values which is in the form of 0 to 31. The code it will be sent. With respect to that, we need to identify these, and another way is we need to handle these, or we need to process this as in the form of few alert messages. Okay, there will be a exceptions. So for the exceptions, we'll be having a different exception handlers, and these exception handlers will have a appropriate code with which we can perform the task. Now, related with the any instruction or any system call, generally when we'll be performing any uh, switching, okay, or when we are going to have with any protection privileges, so there it might be chances to have a different system calls. Okay, so either it might be for a read write operation, whatever it might be. So for that purpose, if you are unable to get an appropriate access privilege, generally we need to get a, or we are able to have the condition for getting interrupts and exception. But it might be possible that when related to this enabling and disabling, so processor it will be getting an interrupts and exception, either it is before an execution of an instruction or after execution. So if it is before, how we are going to identify depending on the flags values, it will be changed, and ultimately it will be having with some instructions, as we have said. If you need to depend on the few instructions, so that need to be occurred first, and then your actual operation. Either it might be for either for linkage, task linkage, or related with the having an information for performing a different stage translation. Okay, so there we need to have these instructions, which will be we have seen with the impact of it, or we are going to identify these instructions, right? When we are expecting it as clear interrupt, or when we will be having generally expecting it as need to change a I flag, interrupt flag, it will be affected if it is a maskable interrupt, non-maskable interrupt. Then reset signal, it will be generally expected. We are supposed to have a, or we need to perform a task which we are aware from which it has been generated, from which point it has been generated interrupt. So these it will be a few instructions with which we can either set or reset the values. Now it will be possible that we might be able to get these forms either with a maskable or non-maskable interrupts, but it is generally having with the changed values, and depending on that we need to get a error code. It will be having a faults, debug faults. Now these debug faults, what we are saying about faults, so generally these it may occur the conditions, that is before execution, that is during a debugging process. If we are at a runtime, okay, so what values that you are going to pass, if we'll identify these values or will provide these values during debugging process, at that time also we might be able to get an exceptions, which will be we might be able to get it as in the form of some messages, or depending on the values that you are able to identify, changed values that we are able to identify during the debugging process. Okay, so this it will be some scenario, right? So where we need to get an interrupts, and these are the priorities that we need to maintain. The increasing priority, where from reset to we can say it as external hardware interrupts. So where it will be identified with these interrupts, how we are going to process for it. Every time we are not supposed to go it for a reset, right? But when we are having a interrupts and exceptions which are not able to what we can say it as process, or we are unable to process these, we need to for reset. Okay, either it might be due to non-maskable or maskable interrupt, or due to some software or hardware interrupts. Okay, so internal interrupts or exceptions that there we might be able to have with the appropriate mechanism or code which is available. If it is not available, or there will be some user defined exceptions that may occur in the program. So in that case, we need to reset the system. Okay, or we need to reset for from where it has been identified or where it has been initiated the process. Right. So for this, as like procedure call, right? So when we are having a procedure call, when particular procedure has been called, it will be having a return statement, okay, or return call for it. Return call means what? From where it has been made call, might be in the procedure jump or just call, it has been done, it will be returning back to its original flow. Like that here also, if it will be having a more than one interrupt for exceptions, which will be pending at an instruction boundary, then processor it will be serves one of them at a time. And after applying these instructions, or after identifying these instructions, which it will be a part of a program, we need to process it depending on these priorities, right? So this initial part that we have seen, and so now we'll move further related with the next part. Okay, so now so we have for the last session we have started with this. Okay, that is interrupt descriptor table. Okay, so we have discussed for the last time, that is what is the role for descriptor table, right? So descriptor table, it will be making a role every place where we'll be having with the maintaining information related with any change, either during a segment translation, that is in the form of segment descriptor, protection privileges, where we'll be having at a different get descriptor or protection privilege levels, which will maintain help of data structures. Also in the task switching, there is a task get descriptor or task descriptor, TSS descriptor. These will maintain a information, and here also related with the, you can say it as interrupt descriptor table. It is also part of your overall TSS. If you remember, in the task switching or multitasking, we have seen one of the data structure as a IDT, interrupt descriptor table, and we have said that we are going to see that diving in detail part in the where we are looking to get with the exception and interrupts. All right. So where we are having that, or what information it will be maintaining, that is a generally in the form of get descriptor. Right. So get descriptor will maintain the information of IDT, which will be referring, or which will be having a reference from TSS. That's what values you are going to maintain, what updates that you are going to have in this TSS, that will be identified with the help of interrupt descriptor table. Okay. So interrupt descriptor table, it is associated with a interrupts or exception that will be identified with the descriptor for an instruction that will identifies, or that will have associated events. So IDT is an array generally, which will be of 8-byte descriptor, okay, or the length that will be having overall. The entry point, or where we are going to have a identification or having the exception handling mechanism, it will be a starting point to initiate the values of IDT. Right. So as like for segment translation, when we are going it from logical address to linear address, right? So there we are making the changes in a segment descriptor, whereas we are going it from uh, protection part, where we'll be expecting a descriptor part, which will be comes into picture when we are going it for values or CPL for register. right? So where we are having a DPL is for descriptor privilege level when you are going to maintain it, but ultimately it will be depends on values of your offset from where we are going to identify the actual protection privileges, or it will be identifying the changed values. The changed values will affect ultimately for registers. It means what here also it is expected that first change that we are able to get it in the form of descriptor table, and ultimately it is referred as a part of your register section. Okay, so that is a expected or the entry point where it will be identification of interrupt, right? So identification of interrupt, that one point we have seen. So there we are going to initiate with the interrupt descriptor table, right? So entry point to interrupt descriptor table. Okay, so it is expected as a part of your get descriptor, right? That is a segment selector plus offset. Offset for handler. Okay, exception handling, or where we need to have with the exception handling mechanism. So that together will maintain the information. Descriptor privilege level, we have seen one more part that is related to protection. Right? So here we are combining with these both the parts as a part of your interrupt descriptor table. One is from your PSS, that is a task switching, and another is from protection privilege. Okay, so protection perspective. So these both will be required because while maintaining this information uh, or to handle these interrupts, we might be able to have a appropriate protection privilege, right? Then only we can proceed for it. And another point is related with the whether we need to do some task switching for these protection privilege, right? If you are not having access privileges, then definitely if that segment is not accessible, definitely we need to make a switching. And for that switching also, we need to have a information that from which offset, from which point we need to get what kind of information or what kind of operations need to be done. Right? So that's why it is having a combined effect for segment selector plus offset of handler. Right? So offset of handler means what? Location from which we need to get the exception handling mechanism, right? So it will be a what we can say it as one of the way when we will be processing these. If it is having access privileges, generally it is kernel level, then task get it will be include the TSS transfer, which will be expected segment that need to be identified. Interrupt gate, it will be disables the interrupts if it will be occurring further, and trap gate, it will be having a further interrupts that will be still allowed. So generally we have seen this term trap gate and task gate, right? If you remember task gate, we have seen it as a part of your TSS, task gate descriptor or task, which will be maintaining the information in the form of general purpose register and some special purpose, whereas trap gate, it will be as a part of our this interrupt part only, that is maintaining a whether we'll be having that instruction which will be allowed. That means after execution of that instruction, definitely we need to get an exception. That is the possibility, or that is the that is the way where we are able to maintain this gate descriptor or different types of gates, okay, which will be maintained as a part of the task gate or interrupt gate or trap gate. So interrupt gate, it will be identifies that these operations we are going to perform or interrupt has been occurred. We are going to disable the further interrupt because it might be possible, right? So if we are generating an interrupt, we are further operations, whatever which are related to these interrupts may be disabled, or if it is satisfying the condition, then we need to proceed for these operations with some changes which will be allowed. Okay, so what structure it will be having? So it will be maintained in this form, that is interrupt descriptor table, where we are going to have the date for interrupts. Okay, then it will be maintaining the IDT, interrupt descriptor table, which will be a part of registers, right? So ultimately IDT registers and table, both it will be associated part. There we will be having IDT base and limit, okay, which is of a 32-bit, and out of that 16-bit is a limit part, okay, which will be maintained as in the form of descriptor, right? So where if you'll remember, when we have seen it for TSS descriptor also, we have seen that these it will be maintained, it will be as like in the form of maintaining a limit field and or that is offset and selector. Both it will be maintaining these values, and these values will be updated accordingly. Okay. So overall structure of this IDT or what values in detail that will refer it, right? So possible through the contents from our PDF also, it will be having again in detailed structure, because but it will be sufficient if you'll get it as a combined effect of it, that is IDT register and as part which will be maintained in the form of descriptor table. Okay, that is the interrupt descriptor table, which will be maintained with the, so this #1, #2, it will be a different hashes, or we can say it as tables, which will be generated with different types of interrupts. Okay, if it might be possible that one interrupt it may occur after processing that successfully, we might be getting a different, because for any program that you are running, it is not expected every time we need to get it any one kind of interrupt. It will be depends on what operation that you are going to have, whether it is related with the software, then what changes we need to have, whether it is related with the hardware, what pin we need to enable or disable, if it is related with some co-processors. So in that case also what changes we need to have. So this it will be having a different codes which will be maintaining this information. Okay. Right. So this is a initial structure for this. We will go for the detailed structure of it, right? So related with the interrupt descriptor table. Okay, so just go for this. Okay, so because interrupt descriptor table will be having the questions related with this. Okay, where I like a segment descriptor. Just wait a moment. Okay, so what will be having this, we'll share with this. Okay, so I think hope you are able to get with this content.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so you might be able to get with this structure. There will be having the interrupt vector, which will be for some particular procedure it has been called. So it will be maintained as a part of your IDT interrupt descriptor table. Then we need to get it for interrupt gate or trap gate, what are the values that it will be having, or which will be changed given the information to GDT or LDT, and it will be given that information as in the form of offset for executable segment. Okay, so which will be expected output that you are able to generate, right? So it will be having overall scenario for this interrupt vector, how it will be processed, right? So we are now same with the part for this. It will be with and without privileges that we are going to see it. Okay, so we need to get it for this. Okay, so now this it will be again correlation with the IDT. Okay, IDT and uh, GDT with respect to TSS, right? So where will be happening with the interrupt ID changes with the task gate. If it is done for the task gate, then changes will be referred need to be done it for GDT in the TSS descriptor, and which will be referred to appropriate TSS if it is done for a TSS descriptor. Okay. So this it will be a error code format. Okay, so this structure also, if possible, we'll see it in next code. Okay, because it will be generating a different error codes as they said, right? So what values it will be having 32 bits structure where will be expected as in the form of different values, which will be selector and uh, expected as in the form of uh, with few bits that is maintained as in the form of indexing part, right? So it will be having again some detailed few fields which we can able to get a error code. Okay, because it will be having a different error codes and examples which we have seen. So we can go to the part, right? So this will come with the example also, detection where we need to. So these conditions we have discussed, right? It might be having with the sections. Okay. Why we need to get for this detailed structure right now I'm not having in this part. Okay, so because I included that as a part of this content, because when generally you need to have it this uh, reference part. Okay, how we are going to get the reference, because generally we have seen that is either we are able to get it as the changed values in the task gate, interrupt gate or trap gate. So what values it will be changed, depending on that it will be called for the descriptor. Okay, so ultimately we need to have the reference which is from initiated, which is from IDT, and from IDT then it will be continuous for. Okay, so we'll go for the next part. In this so if you are able to get with this IDT descriptor, right? So in this we'll get it with the what different values it is having, right? So IDT it will be of three kinds, right? So where we are able to get with the information, that is a task gate, interrupt gate, and trap gate. So format for this here we can able to have these in the form of task gate and interrupt gate and trap gate, that's respectively. So task gate, if we refer for this, generally it will be changed with the values or from where we can able to identify these differences that we need to get it from type bit, right? So that is a which. So other than that, it will refer, right? So just highlight for this, right? So if you are able to get it with the part where we need to have it as a part of your offset, you can say it as where we'll be having with the P bit, DPL bit, right? So descriptor privilege level, it will be changed. Just change it with the type bit. This permutation, what we are able to have, that it will be changed depending on the which gate it will be selected, whether it is a trap gate, interrupt gate, or task gate. So task gate, when it will be called, where we are need to wait for change the segment, right? Change segment or go for the different segments with the identified values or changed values. Interrupt gate, when it will be called, where we need to have the next interrupt, or when you are going to disable the further actions, right? Operations, it will be called or to maintain. And trap gate, when we are going to allow for these values, okay, allowing these further instructions with which we can proceed or with which we can have operations which we can do. So that will be allowed in the form of trap gate. Okay. So it will be maintained both this information. It will be maintained in the form of descriptors depending on what operation we are going to have, because processor generally ultimately it will be depending on few instructions as like the indexing, right? So instruction which will be maintained as in the form of IP value, right? Instruction pointer. So these also it will be changed when you are going to have the keep changed with the get descriptor. Okay. If it is audible to you, if it is with the issue with the connection. Now, related with the task get descriptor. Okay, so when we'll be having a task get descriptor, it will provides an indirect protected reference to TSS, right? Because protected, why we are saying it as, because generally it will maintain a, or it will be having appropriate privilege, then only we are supposed to get an access for this. And if you remember, when we are saying this, it will be allowed if you are having a B bit, right? If it is a busy bit, if it will be enabled, then only that task is accessible. Otherwise, we will be providing you that it is a busy, the segment is busy with some other resources. You may interrupt or you may end the procedure. So where we'll be having with the selector field of task date, it will be referred to a TSS descriptor, and values it will maintain as in the form of RPL, request privilege level, right, which will be in the form of registers, right, which will be not referred. Generally, it will be referring with the part of DPL, descriptor privilege field of a task date. So where we'll be having with the descriptor to cause the task switching. Okay, so are referred as mostly for getting an appropriate task which will be having with the appropriate access privilege. Otherwise, here also, if you are unable to get an access, definitely there it will be possibility for generating some other interrupts also. But these interrupts, it is because of not accessible task or not having a, but generally this it will be not occur, but because your processor will be having these access privileges when it will be getting an access for the segment. Okay. Just wait for a minute. Interrupt get descriptor, the second type. So where we'll be having an interrupt get descriptor, which will be used to disable, right? So this it will be used generally for disabling the further interrupts, which will be specified in service routine, or which will be maintaining the information which will be disallowing the further interrupts that may depends. Okay, so as I told that when we are able to get an access for a particular instruction or segment, and if that segment it will be not accessible, then it will be expected that we need to disable further interrupts that may occur, or different types of interrupts that may occur. It will be maintaining the information with the help of interrupt get descriptor. Okay, so where apart from a segment and apart from uh, our trap gate, which will be having the information, we need to maintain more specifically as a part of your interrupt descriptor. Okay, or interrupt get descriptor. Okay, so next, the third part is related with the trap get descriptor. When an interrupt or exception that will be occurred that may correspond to an trap or interrupt, which will be placed the uh, information which will be on the stack. So it will be identified that the interrupt has been occurred, the code has been given, and execution is done, or execution will be occurred successfully to give access for these segments. Okay, from get descriptor. So here what is allowed? You will be allowed to get an access for this or interrupt. That means what? Whatever the information that you have maintained in the descriptor table is correct. So if you observe the difference one more, it will be that is here we are going to maintain the as a part of the selector that it will having offset, right? So referred with this part, right? So it will be maintaining from 16 to 31. Okay. So where we'll be maintaining the you can say it as half part of it, which will be maintaining the offset information. So what is offset? It will be having that is a information for interrupt handler, right? So that's why, as we have seen, that is a selector plus offset that will be a part of your get descriptor, right? So why it is having? Because get descriptor will maintain, or interrupt related information will be maintained generally for get descriptor. For other previously which we have seen, right? So it will be having a for task get descriptor, it will be not used. So if it can able to have with this only for interrupt gate and trap gate, it is having with the offset value, right? So what this further information will be maintained in the form of get descriptor or therefore your trap get descriptor, right? So trap will identify, or it will give the information that whatever the operation that you are going to process, it will be continued and you will be allowed to make a changes. The interrupt which has been occurred, these changes will be identified with the help of different interrupt codes, right? So it will be given as in the form of both, right? Offset which is running from 0 to 15 and selector, and offset from 16 to 32 or 16 to 31, sorry, and different types. Okay. So if it disconnected, you may rejoin with the same link. Okay, so